What's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
Oh, yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to talk over me now.
Go ahead.
I'm Big Papa.
I'm Jeff.
You listen to the good,
The band.
the ugly.
Welcome to the Ultimate Ears Studio.
Ultimate Ears Studio.
Right there.
Ultimate Ears. They can't see that.
No.
But the logo.
The logo.
The logo.
Is what is
down
important.
there. I have to make sure we mention that 100,000. Ultimate Ears?
Ultimate Ears?
Ultimate Ears.
Oh, Ultimate Ears.
Did I mention Ultimate Ears?
No.
We will eventually get a call from Ultimate Ears going, all right, guys.
That's enough.
You know, you've earned your...
Yeah, you've earned
your in-ears.
You've earned your ears.
That's right. You've earned your in-ears. Jeff, first of all,
Mike.
Great weekend. Can you believe the weather? Well,
oh no, I could have done without Saturday, but
yeah. This will air next Monday.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about
That's
last
okay.
week's.
That's fine.
But you had a good weekend.
Yeah, it's my father's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Nice.
Turning 83.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Put up with you all these years.
I know. For 53 of them.
You know, I have to say I'm thrilled about our guest today. So, as you know, we try to mix national recording artists, production people, tour people, engineers. But when we have someone who's touched so many different facets of the business and still maintained his love for the city he came from.
Yeah.
Just not unlike when we talked with Maria DeSantis about how her family has just done so much with Syracuse. This artist, this gentleman has just done so much. His family has done so much. So we are thrilled. We will get into his history here in a second, but let's bring into the studio Mr. Rick Kua. Dun, dun,
Hello,
dun.
guys.
How you doing?
It worked. That button you told me to push.
It worked.
Awesome.
It did.
You know, I usually push the buttons around here, and they're usually the wrong buttons.
Yes.
I've been known to push a button or two. But I've promised today will not be
that day.
It won't be that day.
No.
There you go.
So what people don't know, Rick, you have such a history with Syracuse, with the music in this area, gone on to do things like the Outlaws.
Yes.
Writing so much music on your own in the Christian music scene, going on being with an executive with EMI into the Christian music division, just being part of the great Kua legacy that this city owes so much to. You know, your dad being just one of the great music instructors here. Ben Morrow mentioned him.
Yes.
Pete Merluzzi mentioned him.
Yep.
We've had so many artists that thank you and your family for all you've done.
Yes.
So before any words are said, I just want to personally thank you and your family for everything you've done for this city. And, you know, if it was up to me, there would be the Syracuse Music Hall of Fame, a building, and have, you know, your bronze bust would be right there.
It would be right in there with everybody else's.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
You guys are very generous, and thank you so much for your kindness. You know, I feel we're all the same. We're all just folks who love the city of Syracuse, and we have followed that path that, you know, for all of us, one way or the other, many of us, that the Lord has put in front of us, in that thing that it was our passion. Right. You know, like both of you being musicians, loving to play gigs, loving the fact that you're musicians. And that's what I've done, and what Dad has done, and Brother Nick, even though he's actually currently doing the Pink tour until the end of this year. But, you know, he used to play the drums with brushes in a cardboard box at the old folks' homes when we used to go to, you know, Loretto Rest or wherever it was. And it'd be the three of us. So that's music was always a part of it. And yes, there's been a few other things that we've jumped into, but all of it is just, we just love it all. And you have to know, guys, I so much admire the Syracuse musicians. Many of them that I grew up with and played during the same era and the same time. And then so many new ones that I might just learn about on Facebook or some other social media platform. But yeah, Syracuse is a big part of me, a big part of all of us.
Right.
Yep.
You mentioned playing Loretto with your brother and your father.
Yeah.
What was that your first? That's, you know, obviously a family gig, but is that the first time you started really performing around this area, or had you been dabbling some other stuff?
You know, that's a good question, which if I was a couple decades younger, I would be able to answer it. But
okay, so it was a terrible question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that time frame was early on in my, you know, maybe doing some other local gigs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I wish I could tell you the year. If Dad was around, he could tell us the year, but you know, maybe he'll you know, a little telepathy from heaven into my noggin. You never know.
Believe me, you know,
Mike needs a lot of telepathy.
I need telepathy. I do need telepathy. So what year, let's fast forward then.
Yeah.
What year did you decide I want to spread my wings, I want to see what's up out there? Or did you get the call to go somewhere from what you were doing here? Like, was the Outlaws the first big thing you did, or is there other stuff?
No, the Outlaws, it was all local bands and just a great life of, you know, playing every week and being with the guys I love so much. And the Outlaws was something that popped up right around 1980, at the beginning of 1980. Mm-hmm. And that was when I started to do that and travel a little with them and, you know, record with them and tour with a whole bunch of different people. And we stayed in Syracuse until spring of 84. It was March of 84. So this year is, this March is 40 years that we've been down in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
It was, I was signed to a Christian record label at that point, and I just felt like, you know, it's time to do something a little different. And it was a very hard move. It was hard to leave because everybody we knew, family, everybody, the doctor, the dentist, the guy that did my taxes, Billy Cohen, you know, everything was in Syracuse. But we just really felt, especially Diana, my wife, and I, we really, really did a lot of things trying to do it in unity. And we both felt, I think we need to do this. Yeah. So that's when we made that big move.
Going from the Outlaws to the Christian music.
Yeah.
Was there something that just turned your head, or did you have the passion to spread the word that way prior to the Outlaws, or is it just something that just popped and said, you know what, this is the message I want to portray, and I want to let music be the media?
That's a great question. So I came, you know, I was raised Catholic, like many of us, most of us up here, you know, and I just, it was in 1977 that I gained a little bit of a deeper relationship with the Lord, with Jesus, you know, and my faith really grew then. And again, I'm still playing gigs. I'm doing what I'm meant to do. It's just that my faith was growing and becoming more important to me. And then after a little while, you know, it was time to, I got this gig with the Outlaws, and that was amazing. It was being on that big stage and touring with a whole bunch of different folks. But in the middle of that time frame, I got a record deal to make a Christian record. Okay. And it was then when I started realizing, I think there's something in the future for me even different than this gig that I love so much,
Right.
and it became evident that I really needed to, if I had 90 minutes with an audience, I wanted to leave them with a message, a strong message of hope.
Right. Sure.
Entertainment, yes. I wanted them to be having a ball, jumping up and down and connecting with the audience that way. But I really wanted to leave them with a strong message of hope for their lives.
Right.
And I would notice that a lot of times at secular shows, at least what I saw, was people came in with a ton of enthusiasm. And then sometimes when the music was over, now they just went back to their normal lives, which I would hope were good lives, but they kind of left different than when they came in.
Right.
And I wanted somebody to maybe leave with something that they could sink their teeth into, beyond just a great night of music.
Right.
Maybe something that would follow them along in their life, because maybe possibly something I said that was motivating and, moved them in the right direction.
So it's 1980. What year was that? 84, 85?
It was 80 when I joined the Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed with them till 83, the summer of 83.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I already had I had a couple Christian records out, and I started to do just the Christian music, which was a whole different world of gigs.
Oh, sure.
Than what I was used to.
Right.
But I just knew I needed to be there.
85, the band. Now you were contemporary. 85 mm-hmm. had the new band at the time, Stryper.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so Stryper being Christian heavy rock, mm-hmm. which had great meaning. It made people like myself start to remember certain things. If somebody said back then, recite Isaiah 53:5, and I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But then reading the lyrics, by his stripes we're healed.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, this is what the music is. I'm reading the lyrics more. It's opening my mind more. It's making me embrace the fact that not everything has to be this dark, menacing lyrics or music.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find yourselves sharing some venues because of just the Christian aspect of it? Or did you say, we still can separate ourselves, contemporary, hard rock, Christian country? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, for me, the music that I did was the message and the lyrics were definitely pointed to the Lord, but it was the same style of music. Mm-hmm. And in those days, the churches, they weren't really ready for that. So we would do these rock gigs, and some youth pastor would be brave enough to bring us in for a concert, and we'd go in there and we would literally, there would be people picketing the building with signs that, whatever, what you could imagine when, they didn't think that this was God's music,
I've heard of that
I
happening.
spent a lot of time talking to people, telling them what we did and why we did it. And for the most part, after I spent a little time with everybody, they kind of got it,
right?
But still, it was a very slow coming, even radio wise, the drums were too big. The guitar solos were too much. I can remember being we were in Texas, and one of our songs came on the radio, and I was all excited, but then there was this edit. They had edited out the guitar solo that was brilliant, I have to say, and they probably used a rusty razor blade because it was a terrible edit. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, they played the song, but they took the solo out. So we had to deal with a lot of that stuff in those early days,
And it
was interesting.
There wasn't a lot of airplay. Well, even for Stryper.
No.
Unfortunately, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have a vast way to get the message out without having in-your-face live music.
I mean, let's be honest. The only way you heard about Stryper was MTV.
Yes,
Honestly.
because they were so different.
Yeah.
But there were Christian music channels
Yeah.
that played the music.
Mhm.
So up here, we're not in the Bible Belt. You know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So for us
Right.
to get that message, now I remember hearing that because I grew up as a musician in the 80s, hearing that you had left the Outlaws, hearing that you had gone the Christian music way, and listening to some of your stuff and loved it,
Yeah.
So I always kept my mind open to different types of
yes.
music. I never closed it off saying, well, they're trying to do this it's
Right.
music. It came from the heart, came from the soul. It has a message.
Mm-hmm.
If the message is good enough, you're going to remember it.
Yep.
If it's not worthy of being remembered, then hopefully it'll just go away.
Fade away. Yeah.
Right.
Fade away. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but you helped mold that industry when you then became a VP at EMI.
Mm.
Did you at that point say this is perfect? I can now, you must have been looking to bring on new artists that you had come across in your past,
Mm-hmm.
and structure it that way. I mean, what?
Because I think, if I remember correctly, I think Stryper was signed to EMI.
I cannot remember. This is, again, I need a little Geritol to bring these, or ginkgo biloba to bring all these. I'd honestly have to look at the record to see what label had them.
I think it was To Hell with the Devil.
I do remember that record.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved everything that they did.
I think what was happening is the mainstream labels were seeing that finally this music was growing, and they took notice of the fact that it was making money. People were buying these cassettes in those days, or the vinyl records in those days.
Yep.
And then the CDs, which maybe people still remember what a CD is, I'm not sure, but it was getting very popular. One of my records was, like, I was signed to Sparrow Records,
Mm-hmm.
Refuge Records, and that's part of U Music, part of the Capitol Records as well now. And then I did a record from Provident, which is a Sony company, and they released one of mine on Geffen. So, but it was because all of a sudden people were noticing that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it was an exciting time when we finally were getting the attention of the mainstream companies. And what was great about it is because it increased our distribution. And it wasn't, listen, I don't know any of us nobody's rolling in money. We we're like everybody else. We've done our best to, get a house and pay for our rent and put food on the table and do that. But the excitement for us was that the distribution was broader, which means the motivation for why we do this had the opportunity to reach more people with the message that was so important to us.
Mm-hmm. Almost more of a driving factor than someone that's just out for the fame.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're rewarded so differently, knowing that your message is getting out there.
Yeah, no, I feel it. And listen, I don't want to, make no mistake about it. We were excited when our record sold a lot of records, or we got a nice royalty check. That was something that was important because, as the Bible says, the workman is worthy of his hire.
Right.
So we were happy when we had a good year, or a record that, had, charted a lot, number one songs, song of the year, different things that we celebrated that. But again, the bottom line of all of it is that was just a perk that came along with us promoting the gospel the way we really felt we were, called to do. It was important for us to do that.
Do you think that in today's day and age, with the internet being what it is, and social media, and the availability being at our fingertips, do you think that the music that you wrote wouldn't be solely identified as it was at one point as Christian music, but just music with a great message? And do you think it could get out? It could get out further.
That's what we hoped for, because in Europe, here you'd go to a record store and they would have a card that would say Christian music,
right?
But in Europe, it was all
music.
It was bunched together. It was just music,
right?
And what was folk, what was hard rock, what had like a gospel-y message, it was all together. So that was a hope of ours, that we wouldn't get pigeonholed. Listen, not that we were ashamed of it, God forbid.
Right.
No, we believed in what we did, but we really wanted people to discover this music that really sounded a lot like what they're used to in the secular music world, but just had a message that we felt when we married that music that they loved, that we loved, with a lyric that was hopeful.
Right.
Like if we talked about a certain human condition, normally we would have a bit of a solution for it in the bridge or in the last verse or something, so Don't Say Suicide. That was a big song for us back in the mid 80s, and it talked about it, but it talked about there was a solution there. There was something for people to hang on to. But at the same time, we spoke about the things that was human to all of us. Mm-hmm. That's why secular bands that I loved the most, they talked about the human condition. And for a long time, we felt that was missing in some of the gospel music. Mm-hmm. Not that, everybody's called to a different thing. There's some people that write hymns, worship songs, and those lyrics are appropriate for those genres in Christian and gospel music. But we just felt we wanted more of that human condition. Like when I would listen to Deacon Blues from Steely Dan and listen to those lyrics, mm-hmm. it would do something to me, mm-hmm. and we wanted to have that happen in our music, but also add to it, pepper in, so to speak, something that spoke of what the word says, what the Bible says about our existence and who God is in our lives, and the fact that our identity is in Christ. Yes, we're musicians and we identify as that as well, but our identity is in Jesus and who he says we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the resurgence of everything nowadays, you look at bands like the Guess Who, and I'm going to say that because they've, Michael Sterto has been a guest on our show, thanks to, again, Peter Marluzzi, and friends with Mary Jo Spillane, as we mentioned before. The resurgence of bands from yesterday coming out with new and modern versions or similarities.
Just new music in general.
Well, that's what I'm saying. New music, not just redoing the old stuff, but is there any hopes for you to bring back some of these messages because troubles are troubles.
Yeah.
And people need nowadays, we keep an open mind with our show, but we all have our own personal beliefs. So nowadays there's messages of hope that need to be out there.
Yes. And I feel that
more than maybe even we did in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
We're getting very far away from some of the things the values, how we've been brought up.
Yes. Oh God. Yes.
Yeah. Listen, you can imagine what I listen to when I go to the gym. I'm listening to
Metallica
that music, because I loved it so much. And, you talk about, is there any bringing that back? And I'm in the middle of a project, a 40 song 2 CD compilation. And it would be just a working title is 40, the definitive collection. And it's all songs going back over the 40 years that are my favorites, but I know that message still works. it's the gospel message.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's something that hope I'm doing the licensing on that now, and hopefully that'll be out certainly by the end of the year, if not sooner. So yeah, same. And those are original masters only because what people remember is the masters from that era, from those decades.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the 80s. Oh, that's the 70s. Oh, now that's the 90s. They're going to hear that
Right.
period within those original masters. And of course, we still make new music. You know, my band Blues Council, we've done 6 records, you know, and there's a lot of new stuff that'll always happen. But we don't want to let the other stuff just kind of fade away.
Right.
We want to give it a little fresh look for the future.
And what a great name, Blues Council.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that.
you like that?
I do.
You can't steal it.
It's spelled Counsel, meaning if you got the blues,
Yep.
we're the counseling for it.
I like it.
Just like our band. When we had our band, it was Side Effect with an A.
With an A.
Not an E, because it was more the
Side
emotional.
effect. What's the same idea?
Yes.
Something emotional rather than
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side
Where
effect.
can I find your where can I find your music? Where does it live?
It lives in a trash can right now because it was all covers. There was no original music.
There was no original music. We were just,
Side Effect. Our band Side Effect would cause drowsiness.
yeah, I was going to say drowsiness.
Yes.
You know.
Would end insomnia.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a side effect from our
If
band.
you have trouble falling asleep,
Funny.
come
right.
see us.
That's right.
You'll be asleep by the second song.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
unless
That's
somebody gets
great.
stuck on a picnic table.
Well, I bet you had those people jumping in those clubs up.
Oh, they were jumping toward the front door.
Yes.
They were like, "How do we get out of here?"
Right.
I was just, see, church
Can
in
I
the morning.
have my $5 back, please?
No.
No.
Oh, that big guy needs ho-hos.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
So you've got this career going. You're helping to bring light to this genre that I don't believe didn't get a fair shake as it was coming up.
Right.
There had to be, and we ask this all the time, and you know this question's coming. There had to be a time in your career where there was just a concert moment that just went a little haywire.
Absolutely wrong.
Yes. And even the big guy couldn't get you out of it.
Or you may
you
have
want
known.
me to tell you about my picnic table story is what it is, right, Jeff?
Oh,
Yes.
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 That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Tell us
Well,
your
I'll tell
Weeble
you.
story.
That's funny. I mean, there's so many. Well, you know, I mean, with every decade that passes, there's just more and more stories. But
Yeah.
this is a good one. You know, when I started doing Christian music, I used a lot of my Syracuse guys to play with me.
We're available.
Robbie Spagnoletti, you know, Larry Arlotta, Ronnie DeRollo, Emmeline Rivera, a lot of the different guys, and you know, Billy McDermott, you know, just a bunch of them. And I remember we were playing, and I was feeling, you know, listen, I love people. I'm not how do I say it? I'm not a judgmental guy. I do my best. I believe what I believe, and I respect everybody's views, no matter where they are.
Right.
Sure.
But with the Christian music, you know, there's a strong message, gospel message there, and you know, I go in with the band, and I just, you know, I'll share a few words, tell them a few things, but play a lot of songs where the message is within the music.
Right.
So now and I loved coming back and playing some of the local Syracuse places with the gospel music. So we're playing at the Dolphin in Sodas Point.
Okay.
All right.
And we had to do 2 sets at the Dolphin. So we go in there, we're all set up. We play the first set. It went well. You know, people are wondering what the heck's going on, but they were very kind, and we just rocked the house and had a ball. And now we're in the dressing room for our break. And all of a sudden, about 10 minutes into the break, one of the band guys says, "Kua, you have got to see this. Just come out here." And I looked up on stage, and they had filled a swimming pool up with water, and they were having a wet T-shirt contest. So, and I just scratched my head, and I thought, how am I going to follow this?
Baptized.
So,
Baptized.
yes, there you go.
Yeah, baptized.
That would have been it.
Yeah.
Now that we've got if somebody won the contest, we got some water up here.
Yeah, you need to repent there, honey.
Anybody,
Oh yeah, that's and just all kinds of crazy things. I remember one night, one of our guitar players, one of the big things he used to do during a solo is he'd run across the stage and drop to his knees and continue to play this smoking solo. And so we were on a stage that the wood must have been a little rough, because the minute he dropped to his knees and slid, he fell right over on his face. But he spun around with his guitar and made believe nothing happened. But any of us that could move, we were just hovering over him, just laughing. So,
laugh.
Just crazy stuff, crazy stuff.
So you're telling me you never had one of those moments?
No. I've had plenty of I'll call them clams that were heard around the world. I can remember
I had those constantly.
Where everybody started using stems, tracks, to make the sound huge and bigger.
Yeah.
And so our drummer had, the count off in his ears, so we made sure everything was synced up. And there was one time where we just started to play, and we were not synced up with the track, and I'm finishing a verse, and the chorus came in, and I just stopped the whole thing, and I said, guys, just so you know, what just happens is what our musicians would call a train wreck. So there were a handful of train wrecks.
Yes.
And then we had, speaking of trains, then, we love to just play and play and play. And I remember one night we were at, where was it? It was the Glass Onion in Rochester. And we would literally, when we say we would close the club, the lights go on. They're flashing the lights, because we're still playing and going. And I remember Donnie Martell, our sound man, came up and he just looked right at me and he said, Rick, that's even enough. A train stops, so, and I never forgot that.
That's awesome.
That was like, yeah, you're right. We got to let everybody go home now.
Right.
See, now that's
awesome.
Anyway, that's truly enjoying every moment that you're up there.
We loved it.
House lights are on.
Completely different.
Hey, you want to stop? No.
The audience was great. They were all happy. They're staying there, but the help really wanted to go home.
Right.
Closing time.
Yep. Yeah.
Rick, I got to tell you, my family would come to every show. My mother.
Oh, yes.
My mother came to every show of mine.
God bless that woman.
Yeah.
Yes. And
in more ways than you know.
You be quiet. And my father.
Oh, I love this.
Would not stay for the whole show. He would drop her off.
Mm-hmm.
He would go do something, and then he'd come back. And if we were scheduled to play till 11 o'clock, it would be 3 minutes to 11. And he's sitting like Jeff is sitting how my father used to sit. And it would be 3 to 11, and he'd go like this.
Oh, I love that.
He'd start tapping his watch, and I'm like,
that's great.
And so the band is taking cues.
Yep.
And they're like, well, Mr. DiUlio said it's time to end. So,
yeah.
And
Michael
I'm like,
say
going,
one more song.
We've got 3 songs left in the set. Just play through.
Mike would say Mike would get on the microphone. Mike would get on a microphone and go, one more song. Mike would get on a microphone and go, one more song. And his father had the most disgusted look you've ever seen. This is supposed to end at 11.
Yeah. Tell us yours. Everybody's heard our story.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. So we'd play at a place, Buccaneers, it was called, up in Oswego. Oh. And we had a Shure sound system, a voice of whatever. And it was 4, we had 2 columns on each side, right? And so we would play the gig, and we're still playing. We got like maybe it's 15 minutes left. People are still there. They're dancing, listening. And our sound guys came up and they unplugged half of the PA. And I see these columns coming down. They're bringing the columns down to pack them up. They start packing up the sound system
as you're playing
was even over.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we had to have a little talk. Here's another one.
There is a little talk.
You're gonna tell me in a minute, Rick. Even a train stops, but I mean, I'm gonna keep going for a second.
No, keep going. This shows you. This is your show.
We had another team, road crew. Oh my gosh, Dennis D. Domenico, Bob Bittner, great friends, wonderful guys. We would get to the college gig, right? And we're all unloading the truck. We're helping. They're doing the heavy stuff. We're doing it. And now we're getting ready and just doing a little sound check, whatever. Well, they find these young college girls and they talk them into, can we go and shower? Just take a shower. And the girls, well, of course, there's towels over there, just shower. So now we're still grinding, trying to get ready for the gig. And all of a sudden, these guys come down and they're all dressed up, clean as a whistle. They smell like polo, wafting through the whole place. And I'm thinking something is wrong with this picture.
Right.
But when I thought about it, I said, wait a minute. These guys are very clever. They're figuring out how to make all this work the best they can. And these guys, they were, all of our crew was the best. Just one more. And then whatever. So we're playing, where are we playing? I can't even remember. We're playing at some club, and this was with Dove, Howie Bartolo and Larry Serafini and me and Dave Hanlon and Larry Arlotta. And we bought the sound crew these white lab coats, and it had the Dove logo on it, because we were very into, and I think Jethro Tull, they used to do something similar, but we were into the whole theater of the whole thing.
Right.
And one night, we're just playing and the audience is out there and we're just doing what we do and we're killing it. And all of a sudden I look back at our sound man. It was Lee Olick, if I'm remembering. And Lee, who had long hair like Ian Anderson, he's got that coat. He took that coat off and he's swinging that coat around. And all of a sudden, everybody turns around. They're looking at Lee, and I'm looking at the band saying, we got to get the guy on stage or something. So
right.
He decided he was going to have his moment, But there's so many, and sometimes I don't know if these things are as funny as they are when they really happen, but there have been so many things to talk about and laugh about. But that's the camaraderie we all had.
Yeah. And
for any of the band guys that are listening to this, maybe hearing this podcast, they know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
This is your family.
Thank you.
Your family.
Yep. Thank
you.
You
You can bust each other's chops.
Yep. Yes.
I won't mention a name, and then I'm going to be done.
No, you're not going to be done. You got another half hour, so keep
we had
filling
like
the time.
Echoplex machine, and we had one song that at the end it would echo, and then it would be faded out.
Mm-hmm.
And so one night, it's getting late at night, and we do this song, and here's the echo, but the echo kept going and going and going, and everybody's looking around. The sound man fell asleep at the board. So,
Was it Pauly?
I was going to say.
Was it Pauly Shereen?
Wait a minute. I think we know him.
Pauly's listening to this right now. He's all pissed off.
Yeah. So that would rival your father with this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh,
come on, let's go.
Trust me. Yeah.
Pauly, if you're listening, by the way, we love you, buddy.
So, out of all there's got to be one. Out of all the gigs you've played, is there a favorite? Go back. I'm looking at the poster behind you.
I was going to say, I'm looking over his shoulder.
Seeing Thin Lizzy, Outlaws, 38 Special, and it was at 9 Below Zero. I mean, that show right there.
Yeah, there were a lot of those. There were a lot of those kind of shows. I think one that was really fun. It was called the Roundup, and it was like 90,000 people at the old JFK Stadium, and there was 5 Southern rock bands, and we had a ball with that.
I'd have been in heaven.
That was good. So I had a lot of favorites, but you want to know some of my very favorite ones?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Please. They were they were the nights that we played, whether it was with Dove or with Crack or with Steam with Nate Levine on the sax at Under the Stone and Skinny Atlas.
Oh, yes.
And the band was just, and we were so locked in together. And I've got to tell you, no, those gigs rivaled anything that were big and grand and huge crowds and playing, whether it be with ZZ Top or with Black Sabbath, we toured with, or with, Thin Lizzy or whoever. The gigs in Syracuse, New York that we cut our teeth on, those are the things that I remember with the most warmth in my heart. Just being able to be gifted with friends and players, lifetime friends, where we could join together and do what we did and just look at each other with smiles and love those nights.
Yeah.
Rick, I grew up in Skinny Atlas, so I know exactly what you're talking about Under the Stone.
Yeah.
What a great place.
It was a lot of fun.
I wish it were still there.
Was that the place? That wasn't the place. Did Bob Halligan mention that place when he talked to us?
Yes.
Or was it George
Old
Rossi?
Stone Mill.
Did George Rossi mention that?
It was the Old Stone Mill, but they had this little club underneath it called Under the Stone.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And George, as a kid, would come in and watch us play. Yeah. And George's sister, and they were like in their, I think, probably, teenagers, 15, 16, 18 years, whatever. And they would be there all the time. And it was a delightful time.
I think, and that is the story George Rossi was telling.
Exactly. Yep.
Watching you guys play as a kid and be like, wow, I want to do that.
Someday I can do that.
I'll tell you what. He is such a beautiful guy. And George, if you're listening to this, next time I'm in Syracuse, I got to have one of your loaves of bread, because every time I see something posted on Facebook with that loaf of bread, I'm thinking, oh my gosh,
where do I get one?
Have Columbus Bakery down here.
Yes.
But if I was still up there, I'd go get some of George's bread.
We have to find a way to send you some. How often do you come up?
Not often. Maybe I try and get up at least once a year. And the thing is, for a number of years when my dad was still alive, and I've got 3 sisters there, a niece and nephew and Diana's sister. Sometimes if we're only there a few days, we're just drinking in the family. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep, I do.
And every time I come up, I know that that's where we need to be. But there's a thing in my heart too that, I love the time where we can make a moment and just grab a few of the guys and go just grab a bite to eat or do something together.
Yeah.
What do you miss about Syracuse the most? Food, culinary, food wise.
Bread.
No, the bread is good.
I know.
The most, the people.
That was a great answer.
Yeah, awesome.
I love the food. I love the vibe of it all. Columbus Bakery, getting 2 loaves of bread, one to eat on the way home and the other one to deliver to Mom because she needed it for the meal.
Ben Morrow talks about that too.
I got to mention Ron Ray. I mean, I couldn't do this without mentioning the dedication that this man has put into documenting all this great Syracuse music.
Yeah.
He's such a special dude, man.
I've reached out to Ron. Maybe this will be the episode that sways him to come on the show.
Oh, he would be. Listen, he is the historian.
Yes,
he's got so much knowledge going way back.
Yes,
and anybody that's that dedicated, it's. I would love him on your show, guys. I think he'd do great.
There you go, Ron.
Yeah,
you
Ron,
heard it.
Come on, Ron.
So says Rick Kua.
That's
and
right.
That's our,
That's our.
he's the shepherd.
Yeah.
He's leading the flock to the show.
Come on in.
Oh my god.
That's right. And if you don't like
funny.
it,
Oh well.
That's funny.
Get the flock out.
Boy.
So you like the food, you like the people,
Yeah.
you gotta love the weather.
Hey, 55 clear days a year. What's not to love?
55
I like
out of
that.
55 out of 365.
I like that.
Exactly.
Out of 365.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. And unfortunately,
though,
they've been
honestly,
peppering them.
I tell people all the time, a great summer day in Syracuse would rival any day anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just because when the sun comes out, we think it's the best day on the planet.
Because we're afraid
I
it's
know.
the last day on the planet.
Right.
It's like something is
Yeah.
something is frozen over. We better hurry up and run outside and just frolic
Yes.
before the cloud rolls in 3 minutes.
Just like today when it started out at 17.
And ended at 52.
52.
Yeah, we went
So
from
it's like,
17 to 52 today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A little bit of a swing.
Unbelievable.
Just,
Yeah.
And last week
Hey.
it was 70.
Yeah, just wear a light
Yeah.
parka.
Yeah. But when it's good, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
But
amazing.
when it's bad, it's
you know what
horrible.
I don't miss?
Winter.
I like snow.
Oh, no.
I don't even mind shoveling the driveway.
Come on up.
I was
When
like,
you
come on
come home
over.
from a gig at 2 a.m.
Yep.
in the morning, and you've got a pile of from the snowplow,
Oh, yeah.
you can't even get in, and it's icy, and so you go out and you almost have a heart attack, clearing off the front of the driveway, and as soon as you can pull in, who's coming down the street?
The snowplow.
The
Yeah.
plow again.
Right.
And you got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
That I could do without that, I guess.
I'll give you one better.
Oh,
you
no.
bust your behind
Mm-hmm.
shoveling, which very seldomly happens for me. But you wake up in the morning, and because of our temperature differences,
Yeah.
everything you just busted your butt doing is melted. And you're like, all I had to do was just go to bed.
Wait,
Yeah.
I know.
And you're like,
Yeah.
what did I waste my
I know.
time for?
I did that.
Oh,
I did that
that's
Saturday.
I looked out the window this weekend and I said, nope, not brushing off the car, not doing anything, because tomorrow it's
Nothing.
going to be gone. And sure enough, you give that, there's nothing
That
more
one-
satisfying that we know, being
Yeah.
from Syracuse,
Yeah.
the one shovel or the snow broom push, and all of it comes off, and you're like, yeah.
Oh, I love
Isn't that's like cutting into a pizza
I
for the
love
first
that.
time. There's
Or
just-
you drive down the street and you can hear it slide off your roof.
yes, and you
down the
see it
back
hit
window.
the car behind you that's
But-
tailgating.
But you'll get a ticket.
That's all right.
You'll get
Oh,
a
you
ticket.
do?
It's worth it.
They passed this law where your top of your car has to be cleaned off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean your car off, you get a ticket. Rob a bank, you go free.
Yes.
Anyways,
Anyhow.
I know, right. Yeah.
I didn't
Anyway.
say that. I'm not going down that road.
Oh boy. Hey, let me show you. Let me flip this around and show you
Sure.
a picture here.
Oh, that would
Can I
be
do
wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're taking a
So-
tour, folks.
I see. I can't see if I got. Can you see
Yep.
that band picture?
Yeah.
I see the color painting.
Yeah. The color painting.
So that's crack.
Okay.
And that was painted. Well, wait a minute. Can I flip this thing around? No, you can see it.
Yeah.
That's Ricky Chisholm's painting of Crack
Oh, wow.
Wow.
that he did
That's
so
cool.
long ago. And I got that right behind me. And of course, you know this guy right here.
I recognize
working?
that man.
Yeah.
Larry.
Larry Arlotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a Crack picture up there.
Nice.
That's cool.
Anyway.
No, that's great.
Now, if you're running out of room on your walls, Rick,
Oh,
we
Send.
have space like right there
Right, yeah.
for
right there?
anything.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I got to send something.
Yeah, gold record,
Gold
something.
record,
Just-
yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Buddy. Oh, guys.
I think, Jeff, we have the most infamous question
Do we?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. You have one job.
I've got many, but this is the only spot that
spit it out.
We get to ask the question out of all the touring that you've done.
Yeah.
Who have you either A, played with, or B, met that you were like, holy cow, I'm standing in front of, or I actually got to play with?
Wow. There was a thing called the Volunteer Jam that Charlie Daniels would do.
Oh, love him.
And I got to play bass on the song with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh.
So that was a beautiful moment for me.
That is awesome.
Just getting up there. And there was actually 2 bass players when I did it. One of the guys, I don't know, I should be able to know who it was, but it was somebody that most people would know who it was, but we were up there together.
That's awesome.
And that was really a sweet time. The other thing that I loved was we were doing an outdoor gig, and the band played, and I'm trying to think of, oh gosh, I don't know if I can't remember if this band opened for us or we opened for them, but it was the Tubes.
Okay.
And when we did our, the She's a Beauty and all that stuff, but when we did our set, Fee Waybill was out there just enjoying the band.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, these guys are, we were nuts about the Tubes, even though we were a Southern rock band.
Yeah.
We loved the Tubes. We loved, so many other bands that were, different than what we were, but we loved it.
Yeah.
So that was a good moment. We played the Palladium in New York 2 nights in a row, and every night there was some celebrity there that were on the sides of the stage enjoying the band. Again, I can't remember everybody's name, but those folks were around a lot, whether we recorded and they came into the studio to hang, or it was some kind of a gig that we did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I kind of loved just whoever as much as I love those people.
Sure.
They had celebrity, but they're just folks, know?
Yeah.
Yep. Understood.
Were they, were any of them somebody you just looked up to so much? I mean, obviously Charlie Daniels is,
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. I wish I could think, we opened for Tower of Power with Crack.
Right.
And we really looked up for those guys, with those guys. And if some of the Crack guys are watching this, they're probably saying, Rick, you forgot this one, and you forgot this one, and you forgot this one.
Well, if the Crack guys are listening, we welcome them.
Yeah, come on in.
To join the show.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
And I'm going to put this out for you, Rick. If you can get your members of Crack together, and you can all log in to this bridge at the same time, we could have all of you on, and you could tell us some of your best Crack stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be dangerous, of course.
Yeah.
But it would be that would be a lot of fun.
We can leave it open for edit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy Rosano, Dave Hanlon, Ricky Chisholm, Ronnie DeRollo, Emmeline Rivera, there's a bunch of and there was an interesting thing that happened with Crack. I don't know if you know this, but a couple of years ago, there was a record label in a record company in the UK that discovered our first record, the Crack. We had one record in 1980 that we put out, and it was the band from 74 to 80. And they discovered that thing and went nuts, and we signed a record deal with them for them to reissue that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they reissued it once, and then they used it for Record Store Day in the UK and did a silver vinyl version, and then we had a company in Japan did a CD version.
Very
and
cool.
Then another Japanese company. This is like show and tell over here. Another Japanese company did this record, Matsuku, whatever.
Which means crack.
A single.
Yeah.
You know, and so
a 45 nonetheless.
Four of the guys are already passed away, and all of a sudden we got all this interest in crack in your overseas.
Wow.
And so that was just fun. That was a little something where for a lot of us, we just got excited about just a little, you know, injection of, you know, look what can happen.
Yeah.
Over time. So that was fun.
So that crack 45 that you have there, is that still available? Is it still in print?
There's a company, it's called King Underground.
Okay.
King Underground, and it's KU is what they go by. But if you went to King Underground, you can probably buy, I think most of those things are still available. And the silver, I got one more thing I'll show you. And this one, they did two of these collectible CDs. The first one, this is the second one, and this was the silver one, the silver vinyl.
Oh wow!
Is this too much? Am I taking up?
No,
too
you're
much?
fine.
Oh my God! No, we've had people on here for 2 hours.
Well, that
shouldn't have been
because I'm getting hungry.
Atta baby.
Well, we won't mention Italian bread or you know, Postabilities spicy oil sauce. How's that?
Oh wow!
Yeah. So this is what they did.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is awesome.
Wow, that's nice.
Silver vinyl, and so for us old timers, it was like, I think what's the message in this? I think it's like, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Document your music, because you never know. First of all, it's important, even if it's for one person.
Yeah.
Yep.
But beyond that, you have no idea what could possibly happen.
Exactly. Look at the Resurgence with Billy Sheehan's Talus. Talus is making it.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got, and Billy was on the show and we talked about that. Guys like Jason Sutter. Wow, why do I say it wrong all the time? Jason Sutter, who's played with everybody. With Cher and
everybody else.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Mm-hmm. He's got a jukebox that he tries to put these hard to find 45s in. And that's why I said, is it still in print? Because that's something right up his alley. Yeah, he will go and buy it. He'll go find it. You know, he's out in California.
My gosh, that's great.
So we'll have to,
especially knowing that he's also from Potsdam.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And he was around when guys like 805.
Yeah.
And she said,
there's a ton.
Name them. Yeah, you could just keep going. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, there's some absolutely great bands. And what else? Let me show you something else over here. So there's a handful of us that have moved from the 315 area code to the 615 area code.
Right.
Yes.
Mark Prentice, Mike Mead, myself, David Northrup.
David's going to be on the show.
That is great. So I had a friend of mine do a logo for us with the two area codes.
That's awesome. I like that.
I dig 315 to 615.
That's cool.
So, very cool.
We celebrate Syracuse down here. You know,
good deal, man.
Absolutely, we do.
Bless you for that.
I think what you need to do is you need to make it a Syracuse Day.
Yeah.
And then you need to tell us, and we will come down and we will bring the salt potatoes,
the
Columbus bread,
and Hoffman's.
Grandma Brown's baked beans, and some Hoffman's hot dogs.
I love that.
There you go.
Because Hyde's is listen, I'm sorry when I don't see my friends, but I never miss a trip to Hyde's. I'm just saying.
Well, don't tell us when you're coming because we'll probably stock Hyde's for that time period.
No, we will definitely.
Gosh,
next
fun.
time you're in town, you make half a day. We'll stop over. We'll meet you at Hyde's. We're buying.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on us.
We're buying. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, that's awesome that you're there. And then when we have any of our 315 to 615 family. When Dave is on, I forget when Dave's coming up. He's
Dave Hanlon?
Northrop.
Oh, Northrop, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, look, is it on? Is it on the schedule?
We're about to find out, Mike.
I'm going to have egg on my face if we don't have it. I know I've been talking to him.
April 16th.
April 16th, Dave Northrop will be recording.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Well, you tell him. We try and get together for a breakfast every now and then and just connect and laugh and just, hang out. And
sure.
So it's really, really cool.
My daughter just got back last weekend from Nashville.
Really?
Her first trip down. Had I known, I would have made sure that she had some Columbus bread in her carry-on.
Oh,
just to give you.
Oh, so, God bless her. That's great.
So anybody going to Nashville that's listening to this, contact us and let us know when you're going. We want you to carry down.
You guys can go to a safe meeting place.
Yes, someplace public.
Yeah.
So no one will get mugged for the bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they know you got it.
Even if the bread gets stale, I will soak it
in water,
milk, and put it in the meatballs.
Oh,
so,
Now, see?
That's it.
We used to bring my uncle, and people don't care, but I'm going to say it anyways because it's my show. Our show. It's our show. My uncle lived in Vegas, and anytime any of us would go to Vegas, we'd stop down to Columbus, and we would mention, Joe DiUlio wants bread, and they would load us up. How much can you carry? I had a whole duffel bag full of bread. Thank goodness TSA wasn't TSA back then.
Right.
Because they'd be like, what are you doing with all this bread? I brought all these loaves to Vegas. And
hungry, sir?
And if it got stale, he took the whole loaf.
Oh, yeah. Check this out.
In the bag. Mm-hmm. He would dunk it in water, and he'd stick it in the oven.
Oh.
And it would rehydrate a little bit, and it would be like.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
That makes the whole hour worthwhile right there, that tip that you just gave me. So.
Well, I'm glad we finally got around to something worthwhile. Rick, I can't thank you enough for doing this show. I'd like to have you back and tell more about the stuff you're doing, the stuff you've got the new album coming out.
Yep.
The 40.
40.
Yeah, that'll come out soon. I've got I have a book and a devotional that's available on the website that was fun putting together, and just try and keep relevant and do things as it, like for all of us,
Yes.
You guys with this show, what a beautiful show you've got.
Thank you.
You're influencing a whole lot of people with a whole lot of people. And it's great. So it's good to stay in there. You know what I mean?
Because we've had people tell us that, like, they never, like this one, for those who didn't know you, are going to gain a fresh perspective on what it was like.
How crazy, how nuts I am, right?
No.
I wouldn't say that, but.
No. But I'll tell you, you're looking good for a 45-year-old man.
Yeah.
Hey, 75. I'll be 76 this year. I can't even believe it. The fact that I'm a little hunched over, but at least I'm walking.
Yeah, there you go.
What part of town did you grow up on, Rick?
We were on Grant Boulevard, right, kind of Eastwood-ish, and then Feigl Ave, which is, I don't know if you know where Feigl Ave is. It's right off, with that area.
Yep.
And then our first home was on Harold Street on the north side.
Okay.
We bought that house in 1970 and had it until we left in '84.
We are 2nd North Street Alvord Street.
Oh yeah.
So Diulio, Shermo, Piro. Those are some of the names. Those are my family.
Oh yeah, those names are all so familiar. And John Street Hill, right?
Oh, John Street, yeah.
Diana my wife would get on the back of my BSA, and she'd hang on for dear life, and I'd go up that John Street Hill and be airborne right when it levels off.
Yep. Yeah, I actually rented rented an apartment from my cousin's last name Grillo at the bottom of the hill, and I was there forever. I remember she charged me $100 a month for this apartment.
Oh my God!
And she says, Mikey,
now you better add another zero.
Mikey, I got to raise the rent. I'm like, here we go. She goes, my friends told me I need to raise it to at least 125.
Say $125.
I know it. I love that. Well, our first house, the mortgage was $168 a month, wow. And the house didn't even cost $20,000.
Yeah,
but it was a nice house.
Right?
It was great.
There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you so much
thanks.
again, and we look forward to having you back.
Well, thank you.
Stay in touch. Let us know when 40 comes out. We want to promote the heck out of it for you.
Yes.
Anything we can do whatsoever to help the success of you putting your message out there would be an honor for us.
We will do our best.
It would.
Thank you.
Thank
you, and thanks to Peter Casella, who connected us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's been all kinds of people. Actually, Peter Merluzzi is who connected us.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
yes.
Good.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It
was Merluzzi.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. You know who Peter Casella is?
I don't, but I was going to humor you. I figured.
Okay. Well, thank you. You had that look. You had that little glaze.
I had that dumb look on my face. Oh yeah.
Peter Casella was my father's first student.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Merluzzi, thank you for your connecting me to these two lovely men over here.
He has reached out to me a couple times, and as soon as yesterday he said, please, when is Rick going to be on the show? I want to promote it and get the word out.
Yep.
So,
what a good man.
Yes, he's
awesome.
True friend of the show, and just a gentleman.
Yeah,
and very proud of his Syracuse heritage, and we can't thank that enough.
No.
So we do a lot of national people that have nothing to do. And you mentioned your brother with Pink.
Yeah.
Ava Gardner, Pink's bass player, will be on the show.
Great.
Yes.
She is just outstanding musician. So she'll be on the show.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thanks to our friends, our folks from the other day, Chris and Ashley Reeve, from Cher's camp and from Avril Lavigne's camp.
Yep.
Recommending Ava. So we had to give that shout out too.
Yes.
So
that's great. And also thank you for the mention of Bob Halligan Jr. earlier. He and I are dear friends. We've written so many songs together.
Yes.
And on this new record, he's got a load of them that we have co-written together. He's been such a dear friend and such a great part of my musical history. So
awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate what you do for all the guys.
Yes. And watch his episode.
Yeah.
We had a great talk with him. So he's been a guest as well. So
yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Beautiful. I played in Kaylee Rain, the first record they did, and had a
great
time.
Yes. I was
all right. Well, listen.
He pronounced it.
You've been trying to close the show now for 10 minutes.
And you're hungry.
You're hungry.
You're hungry.
Interrupting you. So
is Columbus still open? Can we No, we can't get there. They're closed. It's too bad.
I'm gonna go down and have a slice of
Wonder
bread.
I was just saying Wonder Bread. You go downstairs and slice up some Wonder Bread.
Imagine it to be Columbus.
There you go.
I'm gonna put the Columbus, and when it's still hot. When it's still hot. When you're driving home and you have that little thing of whipped butter in the car and you're dipping it into. I don't want to make your mouth water.
Listen, you could look at any of my cars, in the rugs and the carpet in the early days. There was always Columbus Italian bread crumbs
Right now, you'd probably give your eye teeth right now for just the crumbs to throw into meatballs.
That's right.
There you go.
Rick, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Stick around. We're going to roll out with our credits, but before we leave, we'll want to say goodbye the proper way. So just stick with us 1 second.
Yep.
I'll hang on.
All right. Ready?
Are you?
I'm always ready.
All right.
Guys, you've been listening to The Good,
The Band,
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff, and that's
Rick Kua. Yes, a spry 44 years old. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you, Aux Medical Supply, Sharky's Event Center,
DJ Life's the Beach, Good Nature Brewery,
Uncle Jimmy's Local Live Music, The Print Shop Underground,
Snarky Productions, and
Toffee Break Toffee. But don't forget, Ultimate Ears from the Ultimate Ears studio here in upstate central New York. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Stick around for our next show where
what do we always say?
Be good to each other.
Because we're all we got.
And don't be a jerk.
No.
Peace, everybody. We love you.
Yeah, wrong one.
Don't do it.
Recording stopped.
You're such a...
Recording stopped.
Ah.